Hey everybody, come on in, say hello as you're coming in. So excited to bring this Valentine's Day edition of Master Keys. You guys come on in and join us, say hello. I will be actively watching the comments. It's a little crazy sometimes. I'm live in 3 different places: Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So I'm really hoping that you guys get a chance to delve in, ask questions, be engaged, and just be active and enjoy. And so, as you guys know, you're here because we're talking about the master key of balance. Um, and I'm hesitating to say in honor and recognition of Valentine's Day. Master keys, I'll say a little bit about master keys just to bring those up to speed who may not be familiar. Um, And in recognition of Valentine's Day, we are talking master key, but the master key of balance specific to relationship. When we talk about having power in the workplace, especially from a woman's perspective, guys, you're welcome to hang out here and join. And even if it's not, even if we're not talking about personal relationships, there'll be some negative for professional relationships and things of that nature. So everybody really should hang out because there's something in this for you. And so we're talking about balance, master key balance, relationship power. And so, master keys. So, I am, first and foremost, Delilah Bartlett. I am a career and leadership maker. I make leaders and I help establish and build careers. I do that in several different ways. I am been in the corporate arena for more than 20 years, a couple decades. I own and operate a leadership coaching business, and I own and operate a healthy ministry, all with the goal and objective to create healthier folks who create healthier relationships, who create healthier families, um, communities, cultures, so on and so forth. So, power. I'm a woman of power that talks about power to powerful people. And today we're talking about the master key of balance. And so you've heard this term now a couple times, master key. And so master key represents two things. I speak in keys. I speak in keys being information, tools, resources that you can use to unlock the next level in relationship and career and business in finance, whatever key that I would be presenting to you is being given to you to unlock the next level. The second part of that, as I said, there were 2 parts to I speak in keys. I speak in keys being frequency, pitch, tone. There's a certain ear that I have been designed to penetrate. I have been designed to appeal to, and so I'm not for everybody. I'm not for everybody, but I am for the elite and the select. So come on in. We're going to talk about the master key of balance. And so when I pitched this thing up, it was like, hey, I'm talking to powerful people about their relationships. So if you are a woman or a man that is powerful by definition of substantial income, significant impact, and or influence, we're going to define you as powerful by way of influence. Money has influence, impact has influence, influence has influence. And you want to talk about relationships, I'm your girl. And so I'm your girl because I have power and I have experience in multiple levels of relationship, successful, thriving relationships, challenging relationships, and restoring relationships, because you really can't talk about what a relationship looks like to be restored if you've never had a broken relationship. Just makes sense. You can talk about it from a clinical standpoint of just teaching about it, but you can't really teach or talk about it if you haven't had the experience, I believe. And so we're going to talk about the key of balance. And we're framing it in three. I'm framing it in 3 different kind of little segments here: the purpose/power of relationship, the push in relationship, and when to pull in relationship. And so there are a couple of things we need to look at my notes, just get settled up front. So we're really going to frame this in, hey, you go to work, you do great and amazing things at either your in your career or in your business, but sometimes there's a switching of gear. There's a balance that needs to happen between the power that you exude at work and then the grace that you need to have at home. And so, in order to do that, let's first talk about the purpose of the relationship. Um, we really can't get anywhere without defining why we're in any situation. So when we talk about relationship, one of the first things that helps me become centered and focused on whatever action I'm doing at the time that is supporting the relationship is remembering the purpose of the relationship. So I encourage you, if you've not done so, and this is specific really to marriages, but it pertains to other relationships, personal relationships, or again, business relationships. Why are you in this relationship? What is the relationship doing? Because when we're in relationship, it's multiple parties together, right? It's not just you and it's not that just them. It's a joining of the multiple parties, the relationship. So not what is your purpose or what is their purpose, but what is the purpose of the joined entity? And so, one of the purposes I believe, like from me and my husband, I'll give you an example. I believe our purpose is to empower, encourage, and equip those who may be underserved or undervalued to reach their full potential. And so whenever there may be slight discord or disagreement in the relationship, I have to remember, what do I need to do to serve the purpose, right, of the relationship? And so purpose in relationship has power because it keeps you with the North Star, it keeps you with the focus, it keeps you propelling toward something other than yourself. And we'll talk about that in the push section. But a couple things about the purpose of your relationship and being clear on what's happening in a relationship. A relationship is not 50-50. It's just not. Some of us expect to go into relationship. It's like, well, I gave that, they should give this. I gave that, they should give this. If you're serving ultimately the relationship and not the person, there is no 50-50. You're going to give 100. You're going to give 100 of yourself, 110%. On a not good day, maybe you give 80%, but you're giving unto the relationship. I say it, but I also understand it's simple, but not the easiest thing to do. But that really, really helps. And again, this is a key to help unlock perspective and a broader, bigger level of thinking for your relationship. And so relationships aren't 50-50. What you're giving into relationship is 100%. You're not giving in the relationship contingent on what the other person is doing. You're giving what you're supposed to be giving, what you've been designed to do, equipped to do for the sake of the relationship. That's how that goes. And so I want to establish that up front first. It's not 50-50. And so as I'm talking about, again, the other two sections are pushing and pulling, when to push and when to pull in a relationship, you'll know that it's not about the other person. It's about the purpose of the relationship, because you've established what great thing this relationship is going to do. You've established what great thing this marriage is going to do, and why you're in it and what part you play in it. And you're going to do that to the 100%, not to the 50%, waiting on somebody else to come do 50% of what you were supposed to do. You're going to give your 100% to the purpose and the power of the relationship. And it's whatever you're giving is to make the unit stronger. You're focused on the person relationship, the purpose of the relationship, but in doing so, you're also pulling the purpose for me, my husband. You're also pulling the purpose of your partner. And so as you're shifting, coming from that great job that you have, and sometimes today women are earning equal to or more than men sometimes. And that could do a certain kind of thing in the mind or perception of the relationship. Sometimes women can have more influence. Like, women are coming up, like it's a thing. And so for women to shift from I'm in charge, I'm in charge, I make all the rules, and I'm driving to okay, there's an order, specifically in marriages, there's an order here that I have to kind of balance into, and I can do it easier when I know, oh, this is the purpose of the marriage. So here I play this role and I shift balance. Um, and so purpose of relationship, it's critical as you're looking to foster a healthy relationship, that relationship have purpose. So sit down and talk to your husband, your wife, about what's our purpose, not individually, but what's the purpose of this unit? Going into push, because there's a pushing and a pulling in relationship. There's a balance, push and pull, right? So push and pull to me say a bit of a balance. They're kind of the opposite spectrums of movement. One pushes and one pulls. And so when we talk about pushing, um, things that you should push forward and for. Um, push forward in creating an environment. Sometimes we can sit back on our heels waiting on someone else to make it feel peaceful, make it feel like there's harmony. It's okay for you to create, specifically women, for you to create a peace and a harmony in your home. There's, of course, my favorite books talks about the woman being able to create harmony in her home, the environment, setting the environment in our home, how you're loving, how you're nurturing, creates an environment for those who enter into your home. And so for us to be conscious and intentional about pushing to have that happen. And when I say push, actually I have in parentheses here lightly. I'm not talking about anything really exerting too much force, but an intentional an intent and a push to have that kind of environment. Now that doesn't mean going and beating somebody over the head. That means that means being intentional about your decor or your cleanliness or just the things that you say. Even more important than any material things, the things that you say and how you speak, creating that environment. So push for an environment, push through emotion, push through emotion to serve the relationship. Sometimes we can definitely be triggered. We're human beings, we're emotional beings, we're also spiritual beings. Um, and we can get triggered by emotion and lose sight of serving the unit, lose sight of serving the unit. And before that bigness rises up in us, that typically shows up in our workplace, to maybe do something that is unhealthy here in the relationship, think about again the purpose that you've set for your relationship and how you're serving the relationship, and and how can you serve toward that purpose in this moment, because your emotions may want to say, hey, I'm pretty big here. I can respond a certain kind of way, but it may not be beneficial to the purpose. And so sometimes with the push, we have to push through emotion, beyond emotion, to see the purpose of the relationship and serve the relationship and make the right comment, decision, action for the relationship. When we push, we are also pushing to establish roles. This is something that I didn't learn until later on, and still learning. Some of this I've learned, some of it I am still learning. To be completely transparent, learning, active learning, meaning doing. um, but one of the things that I learned later in my marriage was the importance of roles. Like if there are two strong entities that come together in relationship, you're not going to be the same. This person's going to have this set of skills and talents. This person have this set of, and there may be some commonality, but you're not going to be exactly the same. To know who does what and establish those roles and assign those roles in a relationship, in a marriage. Oh my gosh, talk about efficiency. Just think about it. If you're at work, if you're at work or you're leading a project or you're running your business or leading your organization, whatever it is that you do, and everybody's just running around doing stuff and nobody knows what they should be doing. You haven't aligned the skill set of a person to the task in the organization, and everybody's just running around. Or you have people misaligned. You got the person who's good at books, building logistics for your operational flow, and you got the person that knows about flow over here in your financial books. Like, no, you just are inefficient. It's the same thing in relationships. If this person is good with money, then let that person lead and the other person run secondary. If this person is good with leading or establishing processes, let them do that, and other person run secondary, but all in in agreement and alignment with one another. Because my favorite book also says that how can what does it say? Oh, two cannot walk together unless in agreement. You can't get to one destination unless you agree where you're walking. If you're walking that way and I'm walking this way, then surely we can't get to the destination because we don't even agree where the heck we're walking to. But pushing through to establish roles. And now for pulling. So in relationship, three things we're talking about today in the balance of power at work and relationship. We're talking about the purpose slash power of relationship, pushing a relationship, and pulling a relationship, all for the peace of the relationship. I love that. And so when we pull in the relationship, a couple things. You're pulling the other person forward. You're pulling them forward. It's important that we're speaking positive, we're speaking into, but also we're setting expectation. We're setting expectation. There's one of the biggest things is accountability. In any relationship, that I have someone to be hold me accountable for the great things that I want to do in life and the great things that this relationship should do. And I'm holding someone else accountable. I'm holding my husband accountable, right? Because there's how do you move forward if there's no accountability? And so there's a pulling of, okay, we're going toward the destination that we've established as purpose, and that's where we're going together, because we're walking in agreement. I want to back up a little bit and share a few definitions because I wrote these definitions for the sake of sharing them. So why would I not share them? Balance. Balance, the definition that the content that I'm sharing here is based off, is a condition in which different elements, here we're talking different elements are equal or in correct proportions. I love that it says or in correct proportions, because then it backs up the idea concept that relationship is not 50-50, right? The correct proportion, and the correct proportion for me is that you give 100% of what you're supposed to give. I give 100% of what I'm supposed to give. So that's balance. When we talk about the balance of the power and the grace and the push and the pull, there's a balance. And so the correct proportion. When we talk about pushing, the definition says cause to reach a particular level or state. So when we talked about pushing, right, pushing in an environment, to establish an environment, we talked about pushing through emotions, and we talked about pushing to establish roles. Pushing is to get to a particular level of state, to achieve the purpose of the relationship, to get the relationship to the desired state. You're pushing, you're doing these things to get the relationship to the desired state. What is the desired state? The purpose that you've already pre-established for the relationship. Pulling, definition of pulling: move steadily in a specified direction or to reach a specified point. Specified. Pushing talked about particular. It's all about specific purpose that you've already pre-established. So again, first things first, why are we in this together? You're married, you're looking at your husband, you're like, okay, I love you, you love me, but that's not it. It's also, what is this marriage going to do? What is this marriage going to solve? What is this marriage going to create? What is this marriage going to serve? And figure that out. And then that way, when you're doing things, it's toward the purpose of the marriage, of the union. And so going back to pulling, when do we pull? We pull out the goodness in each other. We pull out the great things in each other. Compliments, affirmation, love language, touches, serving with time, gifts, whatever the love language may be, but we pull them forward. And sometimes that has to happen with recognition and affirmation. And so a pulling forward is what you want to do when you pull. And also pull is a pulling back, you pulling back. One thing that I've seen is that sometimes I can have disagreement in relationship, disagreement in my marriage specifically. And there's been I've learned a little bit. I don't know if my husband's gonna watch this, but I'm gonna go ahead and share it. I've learned a little bit where before, I would tit tat. It really wasn't serving the marriage, more was serving me and my feelings and my emotions. Don't get me wrong, I'm important. Like, let's say that out loud. I'm important, but I'm also a piece of a larger piece, which is my marriage. And back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Here's my position, here's my position, here's my position, here's my position, here's my position. This position is different in this particular dialogue. And I've learned that, you know what? Pull back. I've learned to pull back. I mean, create space for him to share his position. Because if I'm keep meeting his position here, there's not really space for him to share his position. And let him share his position and hear his position. And that creates understanding because the more I hear, listen, the more I can understand his position. And then the more, maybe at a later time, I can better articulate mine. Um, so it's um, so it's easier for him to understand my position. So pulling back. I actually wrote it. Understand where you can communicate, where I can understand where you can communicate better, can understand to establish agreement. And so figuring out, okay, then where can we align on what we're both saying in this moment? Where's the alignment? Not where's the disagreement and focus on, no, but I think, and you said that, where's the alignment and allowing that piece to be where we come together and then have a bigger level of agreement. So purpose, pushing and pulling in relationship. There was some really, really good definition with balance, pull, and push and pull. I hope you guys were able to jot those down. But I'm sharing this all for the intent to give you this key of balance on what are some things you can focus on to create that balance. Because being just so great and such a giant in career and business, I'm gonna just say it's not the easiest thing for a woman to do, to come home and then get in alignment, right? With the order of your home, right? So I believe that that my husband is the head of our family. I support my husband in making decisions for my family and then our children. For a long, long time, I had the belief that another belief. I won't go into won't go into all of that, but it's a shift and it's a balancing of things for me to come out of the position of the workplace and shift into my family, shift into my wifely role. Because I'm always in the role of wife. Actively participate in the duties. Thank you, the duties of my wifely role because it's always there. It's not the easiest thing. So having a purpose for our marriage helps me. Knowing when to push in my marriage helps me, and knowing when to pull in my marriage helps me. And I hope this has helped you. And so I don't see any questions. I've been tracking over here. I'm going to look again. But if you catch the replay and you have questions about balance for powerful women, let me know. Let me know. I did solicit for questions in advance, didn't get anything there. But if anything comes up again post this recording, I am available because I think it's a very necessary conversation. And I do want to let my sisters know you're not out there by yourself trying to figure this out and live this life of greatness in business and industry and at home and at home and at home. And anything that I can do to help with that. Because again, I've had multiple phases of relationship. I've had great phases of my marriage. I've had places in my marriage where there was a significant bend, but it didn't break. And I've had a restoration phase of my marriage, and so I'm able to kind of see, and I've walked through experiences that may be able to help you out. And know that I'm available for that. Because at the end of the day, I am here for three things that anybody who's been around me knows. I am here to encourage, empower, and equip people to amplify their influence, impact, and income. And I believe your influence is definitely necessary in your most critical relationship, which is your marriage. And of course, any of these nuggets that I've shared probably are applicable in other relationships, but want to be clear. That is why I've come forth on this day of Valentine. I'm adoring, I'm wearing my red shirt and red lipstick in honor of in recognition. Recognition. You got to get honor what honor is due. And I'm sorry, honor doesn't necessarily need to be due to Valentine's Day, but recognition maybe. Okay, so that's what I had to share with you guys. Hope it helped you. I'll be on the lookout for any questions you may have. Have a very happy Valentine's Day and Valentine's Day weekend. Celebrate one another, and look forward to purpose pushing and pulling it properly and lightly in your relationship. Talk to you soon. They don't know I'm your man.